Kevin Gordon here from Autosavant.com with your afternoon commute. Today's the 19th of January, and for those 2 or 3 attentive people who may notice the conspicuous absence of the afternoon commute from yesterday, there is a good reason. And amazingly, it's not my extreme laziness and lack of work ethic. It's the fact that I actually spent a reasonable amount of time doing research on the SOPA and PIPA legislation, so the Stop Online Privacy Act information, and did a video blog about it. Well, during editing, I realized that I just come across as an uninformed boob, and there's a lot better resources out there. So I chose to take the going dark route, as some sites did yesterday, and not post anything. With that being said, it is important, if by chance by now you haven't seen and heard about these things, or acted at this point, to look into them. They really, SOPA and PIPA are extremely dangerous pieces of legislation that would greatly impact sites even like Autosavant, because all of a sudden we would become accountable for the content that you might post in the comments. And, you know, there wouldn't really be a due process for us to go and oppose anything. Literally, people outside of us would have the rights to go and turn off the switch to the site. So, with that being said, take a look into it. There's a lot of great resources out there on the internet about SOPA and PIPA, and really try to act. Sign an online petition. Sign more than one. Call your state legislators. Let them know this is something you're not interested in. There's, of course, more extreme measures like the companies that are supporting SOPA and PIPA and boycotting them. Not really supporting all of that, just, want to try to have as many people be informed about this as possible, and to let their voices be heard, and prove that America, as a democracy, hopefully, still works, and it's the voice of the people that make the decisions. I realize it's a little idealistic, but it is important to note that this is not a tinfoil hat, issue. It's a real deal and would have real impacts to everybody's life out there. And with that out of the way, I have a reasonably exciting announcement. As you might notice, today's the first day that the afternoon commute's coming to you from a different car than the long-term test EcoBoost Ford F-150. Today we're in a 2012 Hyundai Accent, which might not sound all that exciting, but Hyundai was nice enough to come over and drop one off for Autosavant to test for a week. So the afternoon commute will be coming to you from here for the next 4 or 5 days, and we'll see what's coming up in the future. Quickly about the car. I think 5 or 6 years ago, if somebody told you you were going to wind up having to drive the smallest of the Hyundais, it would be a bit of a crushing proposition, sadly. They were pretty bland, miserable, terrible cars. And I have to admit that this thing is a cheerful little place to spend time. It's a 6-speed manual, which in all honesty these days is getting to be reasonably rare, so it's nice to actually get to interact with a car again. It gets the most horsepower out of the little 1.6 liter 4 that's in it. The fit and finish of it is very nice for what would only be considered an economy car. The seats are well bolstered. All in all, it's a nice place to be. The stereo's okay. It's got Bluetooth. When I plugged my iPhone in, it worked immediately. I mean, literally, I plugged it in and the radio turned on and it started playing my, the thing I was listening to last on my iPhone. So initial impressions are good. Of course, we'll be doing a full written review and some additional video content about the car as we go forward. And now we'll get to the news for the day. To start the news, I wanted to talk about the leaked pictures of the prototype, and they're not really leaked pictures, but the spy capture pictures of the prototype 2014 Corvette. or the C7 Corvette. You know, the spy photos really don't show us a ton. The wedge shape of the Corvette changes a little bit. It looks like the wheels moved a little bit farther forward. Reports from the spy photographers are saying the fact that it still sounded like a American V8. There's nothing tricky going on there with smaller turbocharged V8s, at least from the sound of this prototype. What I actually thought was interesting is the fact that Jalopnik, who had a month ago put up renderings of a Corvette that they had seen, are on their site today talking about the fact that they got it absolutely right. And they may very well have seen a rendering of the new one. I just thought that today's post by them was out of character a little bit, I would call it, for them. And it should be interesting to see how this continues to unfold as we get closer to the 2013 Detroit Auto Show, when the official unveiling comes out. The next piece of news comes from the research company Polk, and it's about the fact that the average age of a car has gone up to 10.8 years old, which is the highest number on record. And the reasons for that appear to be reasonably numerous. One, you know, modern cars are designed better than older cars, so they last longer. Corrosion proofing, so rust proofing is getting better, so cars don't rust the way they used to. Also, the recession or slower economy has caused people to hold on to cars for longer. So all of that has us at the fact that used cars are, you know, older than they've ever been in the past. That also correlates the fact that the used car market is hotter than it's ever been. There's a bunch of other things out today about the fact that used car dealers and new car dealers are out mining for used cars to have on their lots, because they really don't have that much of an inventory of them, and typically they make more money selling a used car than they do a new car. So, you know, they're always out looking for cream puff used cars to have on their lot to sell you. And finally for today, it was announced or leaked, or however things make it onto the interwebs these days, that there will be a diesel engine available in the Beetle, and that car should show up at the Chicago Auto Show. And why is that interesting? Well, you know, the TDI engine that's available in the Volkswagens is typically, you know, a very good engine. People like it a lot. It gets very good fuel economy. Expect to see highway numbers that touch 50 miles per gallon in real world driving. But why that's actually more interesting to me, and I'll probably talk about it again, is the fact that hybrid sales last year went down while diesel sales went up, which goes along the lines of something that I say a lot, which is the fact that I don't believe that hybrid systems where you're combining a electric drive motor with a gasoline drive motor are really long for the world. I think that you're adding too much complexity and too many systems to a car, and ultimately simplicity will win. It is still a little surprising to me that diesels are doing so well, considering the fact that, at least here on the East Coast of the United States, diesel's expensive. I mean, when you really start to do the math on the fact that diesel does get much better MPGs compared to their gasoline equivalents, still, diesel is expensive. You're always paying more than premium gasoline costs at a minimum. So it should be interesting to see the new TDI Beetle show up at the Chicago Auto Show. And that's your afternoon commute for the 19th of January, 2012, here from a 2012 Hyundai Accent. Stay tuned for more updates, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow.